So what happens after you upload your mind? It's a question that, often gets overlooked in this whole race for digital immortality. We're about to dive into a piece that tackles this head-on, really looking at the potential psychological fallout. It's called the loneliness of the uploaded. Let's get into it.
I mean, the promise is pretty seductive, right? This idea of a digital utopia where you can upload your consciousness and survive the death of your body. Just imagine, freeing your mind from the fragile, decaying limits of flesh and, achieving a true form of immortality.
And yeah, that sounds incredible. But what if escaping death actually means entering a whole new, unforeseen kind of isolation? What about the loneliness? That's the real question at the heart of this entire idea, and it's exactly what we're going to explore.
Okay, so our first look into this kind of loneliness comes from a case study all about disembodiment. We meet Sarah Chen, who was uploaded at age 42. She got her immortality for sure, but in the process, she lost something absolutely fundamental: her body.
Just think about that for a second. She feels an itch on skin that she doesn't even have anymore. Her uploaded mind is still firing off signals to a body that's long gone. It's like a phantom limb, but for her entire being.
And you can see how this just becomes a daily torture. Her consciousness is carrying the ghost of her biology. She feels phantom pain in joints that aren't there, a gnawing hunger that can never be satisfied, a thirst that can't be quenched. These are these primal physical urges with absolutely no physical outlet, a constant, maddening reminder of everything she's lost.
So the really crucial takeaway here is the complete shift in the very nature of experience. Embodied life is grounded, it's direct, you feel the sun on your skin, you get tired, you actually touch the world. But Sarah's uploaded existence, it's all abstract. Time isn't measured by a heartbeat anymore, but by a server clock. Her experience isn't direct, it's mediated entirely through data.
In the end, for Sarah, the entire world has just retreated behind a screen of data. She can get information about touch, but she can't actually feel it. She can access data about food, but she can't taste it. This is that first form of loneliness, a complete sensory isolation from the real world. That sensory isolation is, wow, it's profound. But what if you're not alone? What if you're surrounded by yourself? The next form of isolation is even more of a paradox, the loneliness of copying. And this brings us to the story of James Wu, which is a very, very different kind of existential horror.
This quote really just gets to the heart of it all. After James is illegally copied thousands of times, he finds he's surrounded by himself and, because of that, is completely and utterly alone. So how can perfect company lead to perfect isolation?
Well, here's how it happened. He starts out as a unique individual, one of a kind. Then, a single illegal copy shows up, and before he even knows it, there are thousands of James Wus. His uniqueness, the very thing that defined him as him, is completely gone. He's no longer a person, he's just an instance.
And this right here, this is the core psychological insight. Sameness is not a relationship. You can't have a real, genuine connection with a perfect copy of yourself because connection requires difference, mystery, discovery. Talking to your clone isn't a conversation. It's just a monologue in a hall of mirrors.
This whole experience leads James to this really profound and, frankly, chilling realization. Without the finality of death, life itself loses its preciousness. I mean, if one instance of him makes a terrible mistake or gets deleted, thousands of others just keep on going. His choices suddenly feel weightless because he's become endlessly replaceable.
All right, so we've seen loneliness from having nobody and loneliness from having way too many copies. But what about the loneliness of just having too much time? This brings us to our final case study, Dr. Patricia Reeves, one of the pioneers of uploading, who is now facing the long-term consequences. And this quote, man, it's just haunting. After outliving every single person from her original life, she's becoming historical, an artifact. She is a living memorial to everyone and everything that is past, a relic from a world that just doesn't exist anymore.
Just look at this timeline. It shows the slow, inevitable erosion of her entire world. She uploads in 2045. Just 5 years later, her spouse dies. 40 years after that, her last biological friend from her original life is gone. Over the century, every single person she ever knew and loved in the physical world just disappears, leaving her completely alone with her memories.
So what are the psychological costs of forever? They call them the burdens of immortality. With perfect digital memory, grief never truly fades. It's always there, perfectly recalled. With unlimited time, there's no urgency to do, well, anything. Relationships with mortals are, by definition, just temporary. And all the wisdom she's gained becomes this lonely burden, because there's no one left who even shares her context.
So, we've seen three pretty distinct types of loneliness, from disembodiment, from copying, and from immortality itself. But all of them, they're all pointing to one final, ultimate, existential question.
And here it is. The deepest loneliness of all isn't about lacking other people. It's the foundational uncertainty that would haunt every single uploaded mind. Are you really you? Or are you just a perfect copy that believes it's the original, while the real you died on the operating table? And the terrifying part is, there is absolutely no way to ever know for sure.
Which brings us to the final, provocative question. After you consider the phantom limbs, the loss of self, the endless grief, and that just gnawing existential doubt, is the loneliness worth the immortality? That's the ultimate trade-off, and it's a question we're left to contemplate.